When two or more teams agree to a trade, it's meant to help each side of the party. I give you draft picks, you give me a star player. I give you defense and rebounding, you give me offense and playmaking. But not all trades end up being good ones, as some of the players just don't fit with their new team, or the trades were just flat out lopsided. So in this video, I'm going to be going over 5 of the worst trades that took place in the NBA since 2000. Cue the intro.
Do you agree with Amino Hassan and PJ Carlissimo that this deal is a win-win for both sides?
Well, you give it up to get Kyrie Irving because you got a prolific scorer who's championship tested. You don't have
Number 5, we got Kyrie Irving to the Boston Celtics. The Cavs had just made it to the finals 3 years in a row from 2015 to 2017, with the Cavs winning in 2016 and Kyrie being a massive part of that team. After the 2017 finals though, Kyrie didn't want to play with LeBron anymore and he wanted to lead his own team. So he demanded a trade and the Boston Celtics were the ones to acquire him, giving up Isaiah Thomas, a few role players, and a first-round pick from Brooklyn. At first, this trade looked like an absolute steal for Boston, as they started the 2017-18 season 16-2, while Isaiah barely played for the Cavs and was injured as well. The Cavs were really missing their former superstar point guard, as they were not the same team as they were in 2017. However though, this trade really didn't work out well for either team, as Kyrie dealt with multiple injuries while in Boston and missed the playoffs in 2018. In 2019, the Celtics had a very up and down year, and after that season, Kyrie took his talents to Brooklyn. For Cleveland, the players they acquired didn't really do much for them, but the first round pick they got, which ended up being Colin Sexton, was a crucial piece for the Cavs in them acquiring Donovan Mitchell from Utah in 2022. What made this trade so awful for both parties though, was Boston was in a win now mode by trading for Kyrie, as they had a young core of Tatum and Brown. But the Celtics only got better after Kyrie's departure in 2019 and even made the finals in 2022. And for Cleveland, they had just made 3 straight finals and had to get rid of their superstar point guard due to him demanding a trade. And the Cavs still made the finals in 2018, but their roster was a lot worse than the previous 3 seasons when Kyrie was there. Number 4, we got Rudy Gobert to the Minnesota Timberwolves. When this trade happened in the 2022 offseason, it raised a ton of eyebrows, as not only did this trade come out of nowhere, but this had to be one of the most uneven trades to the human eye, as the Timberwolves gave up 5 players and 5 draft picks for Rudy Gobert.
Nick, do you like Minnesota going all out to get Rudy Gobert? All out.
No!
Yes, Rudy Gobert is a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, but he's also earning around $40 million per year, and he can't even shoot outside the paint. After the Wolves lost to the Grizzlies in the 2022 playoffs, the Wolves thought they needed a rim protector as Ja Morant was a huge problem that series and helped the Grizzlies beat them in 6. But the T-Wolves already had a young promising team with Towns, Edwards, and a bunch of key defensive pieces. Not only that, but the Wolves almost won that series, but blew 4th quarter lead after 4th quarter lead to end up losing in 6 games. The Wolves gave away Jared Vanderbilt, rookie Walker Kessler, Malik Beasley, and Patrick Beverley, who could have been key pieces to Minnesota's current team. What made this trade so bad for Minnesota though, was not only did they not need a rim protector, as they had Towns and just drafted Walker Kessler who averaged 2 blocks per game this season, but they gave up 10 players for Rudy Gobert, including 5 players and 5 draft picks. Unless you're acquiring a player like Kevin Durant, giving up 10 players for one is almost never going to be a fair trade, especially when the player you trade for can't shoot and can only play one side of the game. I'm not trying to make Gobert look like he's some scrub who deserves to be on the bench, but with how much the Timberwolves gave up for Rudy, it really looks like they overestimated his value. Number 3, we got Russell Westbrook to the Los Angeles Lakers. After the Lakers got bounced out of the first round in 2021 after being champs in 2020, the Lakers front office was looking to make some moves. The Lakers pulled the trigger in acquiring Russell Westbrook from Washington, and as soon as this trade went down, tons of heads were scratched. The Lakers traded Kyle Kuzma, Montrezl Harrell, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, and a first-round pick to acquire Russ. And even though Russ just came off another insane triple-double season, Russ on a team with LeBron and AD with only 1 basketball on the court never sounded like it was going to work from the jump. And it seemed like the Lakers just wanted as many All-Star names as possible on their roster at one time. And when the season started, it went just as we all thought it would go, maybe even a bit worse. Russ and the Lakers looked lost all season, as it was obvious that Westbrook didn't fit with the Lakers. To make matters even worse, the Lakers missed the playoffs. Russ averaged a career low in most of his stats, and Russ was locked up making over $40 million a year. This trade badly handicapped the Lakers, as they traded away 2 key pieces of their championship team and they got a loaded contract in return that didn't benefit the team at all. This trade was so bad that it didn't even make the Wizards a better squad either, as they made the playoffs with Russ in 2021, but then missed the playoffs in 2022 with their new additions to the team. Number 2, we got James Harden to the Houston Rockets. Back in 2012, the OKC Thunder with Kevin Durant, Westbrook, Ibaka, and Harden had just lost to the Big Three Miami Heat in the NBA Finals. The Thunder were looking to run it back the following season, but they had one issue. KD and Westbrook were locked up with max contracts, and the Thunder had to decide between Harden and Ibaka on who they wanted to extend. They could only afford one of them, as paying for both would put them severely over the luxury tax. The Thunder chose to extend Ibaka and lowballed Harden with a 4-year, $54 million contract that he only had 24 hours to consider. James Harden declined, and right before the 2012-13 season started, the Thunder traded Harden and a few role players to Houston for Kevin Martin, Jeremy Lamb, and a few picks, which one ended up being Steven Adams. Kevin Martin had a decent 2013 season with OKC, putting up 14 points per game on 42% from 3 as their new 6-man, and Jeremy Lamb was a decent role player as well. The only problem was that James Harden was a future MVP, and that's who the Thunder gave up for them. This trade was a massive win for Houston, as it turned their franchise around and almost made it to the finals in 2018. But for the Thunder, they would never reach the finals again after trading Harden. And with a big three of Durant, Westbrook, and Harden, it's hard to imagine this core not winning together if they had just stayed together for longer. Number 1, we got Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce to the Brooklyn Nets. The Celtics had just lost in the first round of the 2013 playoffs, and it was looking obvious that the Celtics core of Pierce, Garnett, Allen, who was already gone in Miami, and Rondo were done competing for championships. Pierce and Garnett were still on max contracts, and the Celtics were looking to get rid of them and start a rebuild. Even though Garnett and Pierce were in their late 30s and clearly past their prime, this didn't stop the Brooklyn Nets from giving them 3 crucial first-round picks and 1 pick swap as well, along with Chris Humphries and Gerald Wallace, who were bench warmers at the time. This trade was basically 4 first-round picks for 2 past their prime veterans, and it doesn't take a genius to figure out who won this trade even before the trade finalized. The Nets had a core of Darren Williams, Joe Johnson, Paul Pierce, and Kevin Garnett, which sounds amazing on paper, but Pierce being 36 and Garnett being 37, the Nets didn't get the veterans they expected. The Nets finished with 44 wins and 6 in the Eastern Conference. They lost to the Big Three Miami Heat, who they had no chance against. And that was the last we saw of this Brooklyn Nets core. The Nets gave up 4 crucial first-round picks, which 3 of them ended up being Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and Colin Sexton, who they traded for KYRIE Irving in 2018. This trade was an absolute win for Boston, as the Nets handed them their future all-star duo of Tatum and Brown, and the Nets went through a long, grueling rebuild. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you like this video and want to see more content just like this one, drop a like and subscribe, and I will keep you guys updated. And leave a comment on any other trades you think should have made this list or future video ideas. Thank you guys, and I will see you in the next video.